games on the PlayStation 5 are going to be beautiful. Beautiful. Skip it up and that up. So there has been a very heated debate about which system will have superior performance when it comes to next-gen consoles, the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. And I'm looking at the specs right now. Some people tout that, look, Rich, the GPU, the RDNA 2 GPU inside of the Xbox Series X has almost 2 more teraflops of compute performance compared to the PlayStation 5's GPU. There's 12 teraflops of compute performance in the Xbox Series X and about 10.3 or 10.2 teraflops of compute performance inside the PlayStation 5. So people are saying, man, Rich, games are going to look better on the Xbox Series X, which could very well be the case. It could be the preferred platform for third-party games. But we also know the ace up Sony's sleeve is that their SSD tech is much faster than Microsoft's. The Xbox Series X has 2.4 gigabytes a second raw and 4.8 gigabytes a second compressed with custom hardware decompression block. That's the I/O throughput. That's the velocity architecture. And then the PS5, their hard drive flat out with before the OODL technology, which makes it even faster, is 5.5 gigabytes a second raw and up to 8 to 9 gigabytes a second compressed. So basically double the I/O throughput. And there's a lot of people saying that for game development, if there's large worlds, the hard drive or SSD, not hard drive, excuse me, the NVMe solid state drive inside the PlayStation 5 is so fast that developers can use it as extra RAM. So, and I'm also hearing that about the Series X too, but more so for the PlayStation 5 due to how insanely fast its solid state drive is. Well, 2 games for the PlayStation 5, 2 upcoming games, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and Gran Turismo 7. On the PlayStation website, they touted some of the next-gen features with these games, and they're impressive. For Gran Turismo 7, you have stunning visuals. Marvel at the rendering quality through ray tracing with support for 4K, HDR, and a targeted 60 FPS frame rate. Fast loading. Go to race events quickly. Gather in lobbies and receive friend invites extremely quickly with an ultra-high-speed SSD. Select from a huge variety of cars with no load times. On the DualSense controller, adaptive triggers. Feel the contrast in brake pedal weight at different sensitivity ranges, the vibrations from the ABS, and variation in throttle pedal weight on different types of cars. That sounds really good, but will it feel as good as it sounds? Haptic feedback. Experience the feeling of tire contact with the road and subtle bumps on the road surface. And Tempest 3D audio tech. Sense the position of the cars and drivers around you through sound. Hear clear 3D audio positioning and spatial expression of depth and height in replays. And now the PlayStation website also talks about the features of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and this is what they had to say. Stunning visuals, enhanced lighting and ray tracing make for super sharp visual fidelity, displayed in crisp, dynamic 4K and HDR. Behold dazzling in-game worlds as you work to save the universe. Enjoy performance mode to experience a targeted 60 FPS frame rate as you encounter new enemies across multiple dimensions. Fast loading, planet hop with abandon. Near instant loading via the PS5 system's SSD sends you hurtling across the galaxy at hyper speed. Adaptive triggers, again, they're bringing up the DualSense. Feel unbridled dimensional energy via the DualSense wireless controller, making combat come alive. Each weapon has unique responses as you mow down foes. Haptic feedback. Sense the impact of in-game rumbles and explosions through the DualSense wireless controller's haptic feedback. You better deliver on that DualSense controller, Sony. Tempest 3D audio tech, another big thing with them. Immerse your ears in 3D spatial environments, enabling you to hear everything above, below, and surrounding you, all the while using your favorite pair of headphones. Connect with the sounds of combat and explore in wonder as worlds come to life, enveloping you with the high-fidelity sound. So, it's so funny that I even hear people that are pro-console, who prefer to play on consoles more, complaining, why does both the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 need performance modes for these games to run in 60 FPS? Why can't I have 4K 60 FPS with the ultra settings, with the visual fidelity settings on? Because it's just not how it works, even on PC. My 2080 Ti, this is the perfect example. I know I keep bringing it up for people who've heard this example 15 times, review the same example USA, but it's perfect. It's perfect. Red Dead Redemption 2. Perfect example. My 2080 Ti. Maybe a 3080 could do it, but 2080 Ti was the top of the line of last gen graphics cards from NVIDIA. I use Red Dead Redemption 2. If I go to the benchmark and put it at max settings, even if I cheat a little bit and turn down like anti-aliasing but keep everything else at the highest settings possible, it can't run Red Dead Redemption 2 at a solid 60. It's like 40, 45 FPS. That's a 2080 Ti, which is now obsolete, but it's still a very powerful graphics card. And that is more powerful than the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. That card can't run certain games maxed out. The next-gen consoles can't either, and that's fine. And you know what you have to do on a PC when you can't get a game to run at the right frame rate that you want it to run at? You have to lower the settings. And since the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 are basically AMD gaming consoles, that's what you have to do. And it's okay. It's impressive that you could run games now with decent visual settings on these consoles at 4K 60. Gran Turismo 7 is going to look gorgeous at 4K 60 FPS with HDR. Spider-Man Miles Morales, they're going to have a performance mode, 4K 60. If you want the more visual niceties, you could go up to the visual preset or better visuals preset and it'll run at 4K 30. That's just how it is. That's how it is on PC too. It's not console peasants. It's just if you want to have better frame rates, you have to run at lower settings. It's common sense. And for people saying, well, the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X ran games at 4K, so this isn't next gen. But a lot of times on the PS4 Pro, first-party games were running in checkerboard 4K. So it was like, it wasn't full 4K. It was a lower resolution. It was like every other pixel. And that's how they would get 4K. And Digital Foundry would show you where you would see some stair stepping and things like that. So it wasn't native 4K. And more games on the Xbox One X ran in native 4K, but you weren't running games at 4K 60 on an Xbox One X in most cases. But now it seems like 4K 60, there's going to be an option on a ton of games on next-gen consoles. So yes, this is a big step up. Now with the ray tracing hardware inside of both these consoles, the ray tracing acceleration hardware, it's a big step up. Having games with this kind of performance is a big step up. This is a much bigger leap in generational performance from the 8th to the 9th gen consoles than it was from the 7th to 8th gen consoles. And everybody, especially people who don't game on PC, who don't see some of these extra visual features like ray tracing, who haven't really seen them yet, you're going to be in for a treat. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one. Hey, if you enjoy my content, consider becoming a Review Tech USA member. I'll have a link below in the description. I live stream now on this channel all the time, and it gives you access to cool emoticons to use as well while I live stream. Again, link below in the description. Thank you for your continued support.